Hello Artcadets and welcome to today's video, the last one of 2017. So today I thought I would show you how to draw hair in pencil, and I've started off by drawing a picture of Elsa from Frozen, and I've just done her face. I thought I would show you how to finish it off drawing her long plait. So if you're ready, let's go.
So here is a list of things I used for this picture. Obviously you don't have to have all of these, and really the main thing is to have a go and have fun. So even if you've just got a pencil and a piece of paper, then have a go. If you want to though, you can pause the video and jot the list down if you find that helpful. So one of the things I usually do before I start putting my pencil on the paper is to just have a few minutes and look at the different areas of the hair, because what I like to do with hair is to work in sections, and that really does help to simplify the whole process. So it's worth spending a few minutes just looking at your reference picture or your photograph and just having a look at the lightest areas and the darkest areas and seeing what sections you can work in to simplify the whole process. So once I've done this, I start marking those sections out on my drawing. And you can see here I'm just using a mechanical pencil, which is a really fine pencil, which is great for drawing hair. But again, as I said, don't worry if you haven't got the materials I've got. You can just get the same effect using a regular HB pencil, but just remember to try and keep it nice and sharp, and that will give you a really nice hair-like effect. So to start with then, I'm just marking in those sections, and I'm starting to put in the darkest areas with my pencil, and I'm using really light strokes to start with. I'm not applying a lot of pressure, and I'm working in the direction of the hair. So this is really important if you want to try and get a realistic look to your hair, and certainly when you're drawing plaits, it's really important to take a note of the direction that the hair is flowing in. And I'm starting to mark in the darker areas with my pencil, just working in layers, lots of light pencil lines. I'm not working in circular motions, obviously, because you want to give the look of hair, so lots of light strokes will help you achieve that. So once I've got a base layer of pencil down and I've got an idea of where my darkest areas are going to be, I'm then going in with this pencil stump, and that just helps to kind of build a layer of grey over the whole hair. So we're not losing those areas that we've just defined, but we are trying to build up, gradually working in layers, an area of colour all over the hair itself. So I'm using the pencil that's already down, and I'm just smudging those darkest areas to smooth them out and make them a little bit less obvious to start with. It's also important as well when drawing hair to make sure you don't forget the area underneath the hairline. So where her hair starts at the top of her head is usually going to be in shadow, so it's going to be a little bit darker where the hair kind of hangs over a little bit and creates a bit of a shadow. So once I've done this step, I then go back and repeat the process again. So the whole sort of idea with drawing hair is to build up layers, work in sections, and just keep going until you're happy with the result. But working in sections like this really helps to simplify the whole process, I find, and if you've already mapped those areas out, you know where your darkest area is going to be, and it's just a case of building up those layers to create a really nice texture of hair, and also overlapping the hair, so you're not just doing the same strokes over the same areas before as you did. You're kind of creating a really nice full bodied hair like texture. So as you can see, I'm working down the plait, and if you're looking at a plait as a reference photo, then it tends to be that the darkest areas are on the outside of each strand and the lightest areas are in the middle of each strand. So I'm just going and making that a little bit more defined using my fine pencil here, and although I'm not doing any pencil shading in the middle areas, I have used my blending stump so they're not perfectly white. The other thing I would say is that obviously I've used a grey paper for this drawing today, and I find it really helps to it kind of creates a base colour already, and it also really helps to show those really bright highlights, so I thought it would be good for this tutorial. Obviously you don't have to use the grey paper though, but it's almost like you've already got a mid-tone down. So when I'm saying about picking colours for colour pencils, I usually say pick a light tone, a mid-tone or a middle colour, and a dark tone. Well, this grey paper already acts like a mid-tone, so it kind of feels easier to kind of build up that realistic effect before you've even started. You haven't got to work too hard to get that mid-tone down because you've already got a base layer of grey there. But if you're using white paper, that's absolutely fine. You just have to remember that you might need to work a little bit harder just to get an overall tone to begin with before you pick out those highlights. And also remember to put in your darkest darks as well, because creating realistic hair is all about contrast and having really bright whites and really dark darks, and kind of looking at your reference photo and making sure that you're getting it as accurate as possible. So once I put in a couple of layers, I'm now going in with my white colour pencil, and as I said, this is really good because it shows up on this grey paper for you, so you can see where I'm working. And as I said before, I'm just working in sort of light lines following the direction of the hair. I'm not scrubbing back and forwards, and I'm not doing circular motions because we want to kind of make it look smooth like Elsa's hair is. But as I also said, this technique will work whether you're drawing Elsa's hair or any other cartoon hair, or indeed realistic hair as well, because the techniques are much the same. We're working in sections, we're working in layers, and we are picking out the highlights before then going in and putting in the darkest darks as well to create a really good contrast. And by building up this sort of method, we are going to have a really nice looking finished result. So as you can see, I'm just now putting these highlights into the centre parts of the clumps of the plait. And as you'll see, it really starts to pop out and look really pretty. So it's important not to worry too much about doing each and every hair, like copying your reference photo, but just using the areas of light and dark to give you a guideline of where you're going. So now I'm going in with the dark black colour pencil, and I'm just building that contrast by picking out some really dark areas. And these tend to be where the hair crosses over and on the outside of each of the strands of hair. And again, just going in with my pencil stump to blend those all out and create a nice even tone. I also had some little wispy bits of hair, some flyaway bits as well, just to add to the overall effect. And you can keep going back and forwards. As you can see, there's no sort of like set way. You can change it, you can add bits. And once I'd done the hair, I also decided to go in and do a bit more shading on the face as well, just because I think it needed a little bit more highlights, and I probably could have gone in with a few more of the darker shades as well. But you can have a go with this, try it at home and see how you get on. And if you've enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give me a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to my channel, and let me know as well if you've got any ideas or any tutorials that you would like me to do. My idea with this video was that drawing realistic hair might seem a bit less scary if we're using a familiar character to us rather than just taking a picture from a magazine or from a real photo that we've got. So it makes it a bit less daunting and a little bit more fun if we're using a character that we're all familiar with. But let me know what you think, drop a comment in the box below, and I will see you in next week's video.
Well, that's all for today, Artcadets. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial on how to draw hair. If you have, don't forget to give me a like, comment and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye!